Hello and welcome back to OC Decoded. I am Erin Brown and your decoding guide. Today we were going to be talking about thought action fusion, which is the idea that, that thinking a thing is as bad as doing a thing. And OCD really struggles with this. It's a cognitive distortion, which means, it's a thinking error or, a processing issue, which OCD is a processing disorder, like somebody we talked about last week, and how it struggles to process. And so thought action fusion is like if I, visualize doing something, it's as bad as if I actually did the thing. And it can create a lot of shame and guilt in the person that then they feel bad about and then try to compulsively make right, which is a big factor of OCD. And then those compulsions tend to make, the obsession worse or the whatever it is that they're trying to make right, it tends to do quite the opposite. And one thing I notice with thought action fusion also is the idea with processing disorders that like if someone's mad at me, that means they don't love me. And I see this a lot with trauma too. And so I thought it was really important to talk about and to see about, to be really honest with ourselves and try to look at the places where we might be thinking that, where, if someone's mad at me, I feel like they don't love me anymore. And then, those kind of that saying about hurt people, that when someone's hurt, they're going to lash out at somebody else. And that if we can kind of speak more heart to heart and less from our insecurities, that it would solve a lot of things, in my opinion. But that with this thought action fusion, if I can remember that even if someone's mad at me, that doesn't mean they've stopped loving me. That if I'm mad at someone, that doesn't mean I've stopped loving them. That not just anger, but just the sadness. It can also be like if I'm not sad anymore, then I don't miss the person. And just these ways, these loops that get people really stuck and feeling like we have to be sad or continue grieving in order to show how much we miss someone. Or one that I see very commonly also is my anger holds the other person accountable, is a loop that OCD will obsess about. And it's kind of like, I have to, show them how angry I am, and that somehow me holding on to my anger is punishing or, not necessarily punishing the other person, though sometimes that's what it can feel like, but that it's somehow holding that other person accountable, that my anger, that if I stop being angry, then it's like what they did was okay, or that, if I stop being angry, that means I'm okay, that I've forgotten about it and forgiven it all, which leads into the other part that's such a struggle for many people, but with OCD and processing disorders especially, is that the idea of forgiveness, and what forgiveness means. Does it mean like if I forgive someone, then that means that what they did was okay, or that I've stopped being hurt by what they did? And I think that's a big part that OCD gets stuck on too, is like if, I don't stop being upset about this, or if I don't stop hurting about this, then, XYZ. But if I do stop hurting about it, then XYZ, and just the going back and forth and how these endless loops never make us feel better about it. I try to stay away from always and never, but also really in my experience, I've not found a time where going through these loops has given me some relief, though my brain will tell me that it will. And that is where I find that idea of that stopping and pausing and trying to gently contemplate my own thoughts and be the observer of them and practice that, and being able to really assess with myself, okay, what am I believing? What is the story behind, what is the story I'm telling myself about this? And that's been a very helpful tool that I have used. And I hope that this has helped shine some light for you onto different ways that you can see the world in a new light and see yourself in a new light. See you next time.